morning. This is a meeting of the Bloomfield Township Election Commission for Thursday, September 29th at 10 a.m. It's just past 10 a.m. The first item is to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, all members of the commission are present, and this is a meeting to prepare for the November 8th statewide general election. The first item of business is public comment. Seeing no public comment, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is to approve the Election Commission meeting minutes from July 21st, 2022, which was the meeting where we did the public accuracy test.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Shostak, support by Mr. Barnett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I do have a couple of announcements I want to make briefly before moving on to the election procedures review. First, today is the very first day that absentee ballots are available over the counter. Anyone who would like to obtain their absentee ballot can do so effective today and have it issued over the counter. They can vote it at that time and turn it in. The ballots will be held until Election Day and processed. The other thing to mention is that last night the legislature passed a bill that would allow the clerk's offices of jurisdictions of 10,000 people or larger to pre-process absentee ballots. That pre-processing is for 2 days before the election, the Sunday and the Monday, up to 2 days anyway, and it's pending the governor's signature. I think that pre-processing is a great idea. I hope she signs it. All that can happen at that point in time is that the envelope is opened, the ballot inside the secrecy sleeve is removed, and the numbers are checked. The ballot remains inside the secrecy sleeve until Election Day for processing. I don't know if you guys probably also saw the same news.
Yeah, I saw the same thing, and it sounds like she will sign it because there was a collaboration between legislature and her representative, so it looks promising, and it's certainly needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's great. The other thing, too, I want to mention is in the announcements category is that today also is the official sort of grand opening of the Bloomfield Township Drive-Up Elections Dropbox. After this meeting, we'll be visiting that to unveil the Drive-Up Dropbox. It is on campus here, right outside this window, in fact, secured by bolts to a cement pad and on constant video surveillance. But we're excited to have the Dropbox in place. It's an additional convenience for voters who can drop off any elections-related business. That could be their absentee ballot application or their completed absentee ballot. I just want to encourage folks, it's not the place to drop their other township business, such as matters that might go to the treasurer or to the building department and so forth. Back to our agenda, unless there's other announcements that you all want to make. Okay, thank you. Item 3 is to review the election procedures. They were contained in the packet that was provided a couple of days ago. There are sub-items A through O. All of these are routine and similar to what have been provided in the past, or exactly the same, in fact, with exception of, for instance, items N and O. N is the election worker training schedule, which has been set up. Our election specialist, Katerina Yankee, who is here with us also taking minutes, works very hard to put that together. And then item O is the poll workers code of conduct. This is a new item drafted and prepared for by the Secretary of State. It's not required, but it's my recommendation that we make it a part of the process, that we review the code of conduct with the election workers and ask them to sign it. there's nothing on there that they haven't always done or known, but it formalizes that process. So, any questions about the items in A through O?
Nope.
Okay. Item 4 is an FYI item. It's a proposed change to the election inspector compensation. Many of our local communities have raised their pay recently, and this is a sort of a reflection of that. It's also a reflection of the fact that the township last raised the pay for election inspectors in 2015. A lot has changed since 2015, especially the pressure that's on the election inspectors that volunteer essentially to do this job. It's a small increase, but recognizes it's really a form of just recognition and thank you that I recommend. It needs to go to the township board, so it's not for us to vote on today, but it's an item that I wanted you all to see. If you had any comments or questions about it or modifications, just...
No, I'm in agreement with you. It certainly is needed, and it's a very difficult job with pressures that weren't there years ago, and certainly is recognition of all the hard work that they do, and certainly in agreement with you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so our first item, our next item that requires a vote on the agenda is the resolution to appoint election inspectors. The resolution is in the packet. It's the same resolution as we reviewed in July, June, I think it was, of last year, or early July. And each of the inspectors have completed an application. Those applications were in your packet. Ms. Yankee works very hard to organize this. I must say it is a large task. Folks do this out of the kindness of their hearts. And also, whenever you're managing essentially volunteers, they each of them have preferences about who they're staffed with and where they're located, and we work with as many of those things as possible. But top of the list is to ensure that they are qualified, that they are Michigan registered elector, that they are of the proper age, and that they are divided as close as possible in the precinct between Republican and Democrat. The one thing that we always do have, though, is that as far as the chairpersons go, there's a chair and a co-chair, that they are always of opposite parties. And the remaining staff members are balanced as closely as possible. Any question about the election inspectors?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Barnett. Any
Support.
Support by Mr. Shostak. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Next is item 6, which is a resolution to delegate election commission duties to the local clerk and his authorized assistants. This resolution is same as we reviewed last July, and recognizes that we will be carrying out duties from going forward from here, many of which are reviewed in item 3, A through O, and then we'll continue through Election Day. And we look for your approval to carry out these duties and to delegate any other responsibilities, including management of the election inspectors on Election Day, to the clerk and his staff.
So moved.
Motion by
Support.
Mr. Barnett, support by Mr. Shostak. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. The last item on the agenda for today's election commission meeting is adjournment, unless there's any other business.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shostak. Support from Mr. Barnett. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. The motion carries. Election commission meeting is adjourned.